the difficulty is the getting it done stage, because how many of us have ideas, and being able to transition from the idea to then having a tangible product. And people get stuck in the middle. You've shown from what you've said that you haven't done this all on your own. You have worked with other people. How important has it been to the development of the app for you to have connected and collaborated with different people along the way?
Extremely. There's no other way. I literally can't do it on my own. You can't do any. There's nothing that anyone's done good and they just said, oh yeah, I just did it on my own in my cave. Like there's no way. And I think that's like, if I was a superhero, that'd be like one of my superpowers, is getting stuff done. So like, oh, I'm gonna do this by this time, and then you get it done, even if it's not this is not how you would have expected or whatever. Like getting it done, like that's like the most important thing. And having people around you, even just to talk about it, like it is really important. And I think people are sometimes scared to talk about ideas for like a couple of reasons, like imposter syndrome, like, oh, I'm not this person yet, I'm not an app developer, should I be talking to like
that's real,
that I know about apps, like I don't know enough about finance. Like you think about all these things, but you become this person on the way. It's not something that you just say, oh, I'm just this, I'm a crazy expert. You become this person, and speaking about it and allows you to be like held accountable. So I'll say to you, oh, I'm doing this app, and then the next time you speak to me, you're like, oh, so how's the app going? And then you're accountable. And don't be scared that people are going to steal your ideas either, because most people have a life. Like, it's not like they're going to say to you, oh, well, I'm doing an app about personal finance, and you go, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing now and do your idea. No one's ever
it doesn't work like that.
No one's ever going to say, I'm just changing my life because someone said a good idea. So don't get scared about saying the idea. Talk about it. And when you do talk about it, sometimes people add a little bit and just add a little different perspective on it, and then it helps you grow. I think my mentors probably like instrumental of really like kind of helping me get to where I got to.
You've made a really, really cool point about the idea stealing, you know, and I have even been guilty of that, in the sense of, oh my God, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want anyone to take my idea. So I don't know what your knowledge is on like patent and trademarking, but there's probably some people who maybe don't even really know too much about it, or think that, oh my gosh, it's an integral part to me building this business. I need to get it patented and trademarked. Is that key for you?
Yeah, it all depends. Like if your idea is that simple that you could just say it to someone and they can do it, maybe it's not like the best idea in the world anyway. Like if someone could just say it and then they're going to be able to do it themselves. If it's like something that's tech heavy, then yeah, maybe don't explain the whole thing to people. Yeah, and with any idea, you have to speak to. When I say talk to people, you don't speak to any Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street. Like you speak to people that are going to be able to help you with the idea. Do you know what I mean? Or someone that's going to be able to propel you, or you know, or help you. You don't say it to anyone. But generally, like I generally that type of stuff doesn't matter. If you really do, you kind of just do the old school way. If you really do have some sort of idea and you're really scared that you need some sort of copyright, you really just post it to yourself. You just do like a recorded delivery. You seal it. You take it to their post office. They sign it. You take it and put it in your house, put it in a safe or whatever, and you don't open it unless it comes out in court. And then you have to kind of open it and say, "Oh, I sent this to myself at this time," and then you can kind of say it was my idea. I always use Coca-Cola as an example. Like, try and make Coca-Cola now. Like, they've got a secret ingredient. Even if they told you what that really was, you're going to be able to just make a Coke.
Yeah, true.
You're not going to be able to do it.
And not when you have the time to even make a batch as big as what they're doing.
It's insane. Like, so chill. So it's fine. Obviously, keep secrets that you have to keep or what have you. But yeah, man, be open with your idea. Be confident with the idea, and kind of speak to as many people as you can. You know what I mean? How
do you ensure that you always take the right action in life and in your investments?
Yeah, how do they match up? Yeah, well, I guess how I see it is that how I invest is similar to how I do things. It's really like small and focused, really. And the best way that I've learned to invest is to invest in one or two or three companies. Really, like really focused investing. And if you focus on a small aspect of whatever it is and get that done, master that, and then move on. So yeah, it really is just like small and focused, like little and often.
For those people who are watching, they probably, watching because they're interested in investing, stocks and shares. They've heard some of the lingo of the FTSE 100 and all this kind of stuff, but probably have no idea or minimal idea. So just as a breakdown, what is investing? And for somebody who's completely new to the idea, how do they start out and get themselves on the investing ladder?
If you look at saving, investing is like a gun. Saving is like cocking back the gun, and investing is like shooting it. So you have to save and invest, right? Investing in the stock market is probably one of the easiest ways because it's liquid. It's something that you can buy and sell in the same day. So say if you bought a house, for instance, you're probably not going to buy a house tomorrow. If you said, I'm going to buy a house, and you're probably not going to sell it like the next day, it's just not going to happen. So with stocks, it's liquid and it's something you can kind of just get in and get out. How I see investing in the stock market is only long term. People they do like swing trading, like in for a week, like that type of spread betting and trading, which is fine. And I think that's the difference that people kind of have to understand. Sometimes the word's interchangeable, but you're really, what I like to teach is you invest. So you buy and hold for the long term, right? And there's a couple kind of ways to do this. It's like 3 ways to do this. In the beginning, I like to say, if you're like, you want to be on autopilot, because a lot of people not going to have time to kind of sit and learn about stocks and read, and because the whole shebang is you have to be invested. You have to be invested in the process. You kind of have to practice it. It's like law. You have to practice. You have to continue to do things. And a lot of people don't have time for that, and that's fine. So what I would say is just like I can tell you what I do, and very much like Warren Buffett is an advocate. He says to buy the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 is an index of 500 of the biggest stocks in America. Google, Amazon, all the big boys, right? So that's the 500 stocks in America. So basically what you're doing when you put money into that, you're betting on America. You're betting America in the next 5 years, they're going to increase. Apple's going to do better. Amazon's going to do better, and you're going to make some money. That is what they use to kind of measure the stock market. So they measure on those kind of the 500. And overall, for the last 200 years or whatever it's been, well, actually in the last 90 years, it's been it's gone up 10%. So basically, you can put in 100, and you can make 10. Do you mean it's gone up 10% throughout the last 90 years? So that's a very easy way to kind of make money. It's much better than the bank. You put some money in the bank right now, you kind of like 2%, 1% or whatever over a long period, and it's just sitting there. And also you've got to worry about inflation. So inflation will make your money go down because things cost more after a while. So putting some money in the S&P 500, for instance, is probably like the kind of best and easiest way to start, because it's really just buy and hold. That's all you're doing. Like there's no like fancy tricks. You're kind of buying it at one price, and then you're kind of like hoping that it's going to go up at another time. There's loads of little tricks and stuff you can do. That's like step 1, and that's kind of like autopilot because you've got 500 of the best stocks. One step forward, I would say, you could kind of just hope for growth for a company. You could look at a company that is been trading for longer than 10 years, and it's a company that something about, a little bit at least. It's something that you would use like the product or service. So like Nike, for instance, a lot of people wear like Nike trainers or Jordans and what have you. You would know if that product started getting bad. Like if you buy Nike trainers and they're falling apart in one day, or no one was really wearing Nike anymore, you would know about it, right? And that's what you're invested in. You're invested in one company, and you're hoping that company does better in the next 5 or 10 years. I've been using Trading 212. Trading 212 is an app which allows you to access a broker, and a broker is just like the person who's going to who set the trade for you. They're the person that's going to, the broker is like the company, like the bank. You can almost call them like the bank that takes your money and then buys the stock for you. And Trading 212, it's just a click away. Literally, you click it, you you open up an account. You can do this in like less than 10 minutes, like really less than 10 minutes. You open up an account, you go on whatever you're looking for, Nike or whatever the company is that you feel that you want to see do better in 5 years, because you're really voting with your money. You're really then saying, like, I want this company to be better, I'm going to vote in this. And that's why some people won't be interested in doing tobacco companies, even Coca-Cola, McDonald's, because they're sometimes seen as companies that, you know, are not amazingly good for health and environment and what have you. So you bet on something that you want to see.
If there is anyone that is thinking, okay, yeah, I'm down, I want to do this, but I also want to protect my money. I also want to make sure that if the stock market drops and I invest £200, I want to set the bar that I don't lose more than £100 or something like that. Yeah. Is there a way that they can protect themselves and kind of put a buffer in their investments? Is that possible?
100%, 100%, and that's called a stop loss. However, I don't use stop losses. The reason why we don't use stop losses for this strategy, for other stuff like trading, and it's a day and it's like a small drop and then it could kind of wipe you out, then maybe you would use a stop loss. But what we're doing here is like long-term investing. So if it goes below and you've lost £100, so what? Like I said, eventually it's going to go up at some point. If you go out and you've lost £100 and now it's taking you out, you've now just lost £100. Why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just leave it and wait? You might, and that's the thing, you've got to have the heart to see your money go red, and then go back up. But this is the thing, people are they're too close to their phone and they're too involved. If you buy a house, you don't get that thing valued every 3 days. You don't call up a surveyor and say, look, listen, come to my house and tell me how much my house is worth. And then next week, how much is my house worth? How much? It doesn't work like that. You have to wait. It's the stock is backed by a business. It's a movement. It's showing you from a business, and a business will do well or do worse over a period of time. So you kind of have to wait.
What are some of the reasons you would encourage somebody to save? You know, a lot of the time we hear the term save for a rainy day.
Yeah.
What would you educate someone? What would you say to them why they should save?
Yeah, why you should save? For me, it's like, I can only really speak for myself. It's really like a position of power, really. Just and when I say that, I mean just being able to say, like, having your FU money. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, F this job. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
You want to be in a position where you just like, you know what? I've got like 3 to 6 months worth of money. This is probably a really bad time because of COVID and what have you, to change your job and have that idea. But generally, when the economy is good, you can normally get jobs reasonably easy, depending on what industry you're in. So it's really good to have savings, to have money, to just be like, F this, I'm out of here. Like, I'll be fine because I have kind of like 6 months of money. Also to have that like rainy day. Stuff happen. Like, generally stuff happen, and a lot of people don't have that money. And normally that rainy day, when that thing happens, it can be in the extent of like £3,000, and you don't always want to chuck that on a credit card, because you're throwing that on a credit card and you're instantly in debt, and then you have to pay that back like next month, and then you're paying it on the £3,000 like that you borrowed. Do you know what I mean? And that's why you have to pay it back in full, or you're getting charged interest on the whole £3,000. And it's also accessibility. So whereas I think saving and investing, like, they go hand in hand. You should have some savings and you should have some invested as well. I prefer investment because you're going to make more money on it, but it's great to have money to hand, because that way you'd have to sell. Like, if you had all your savings in an investment account, like in your broker account, you would have to sell whatever, if it was in the red and we were waiting for it to go back up, you're like, oh, 1 minute, now I have to sell and take that money out. So it's great to have just some money in your savings pot, so it's accessible. So you can just say, okay, well, I need this money now, and I can just take it over here and do this.
Credit is real, right? We realize that we need to have good credit if we want to be able to borrow and just do things in life. For those that don't understand the purpose of credit and what credit is, could you just tell us a little bit about it and just why it's so important that we should be focused on our credit?
Yeah, sure. So Yeah, so say if you, for instance, you want to buy a house, you have to have a good credit, because they have to, a lender, say a bank or what have you, have to think that you're credit worthy to lend to. And if you don't have any history, you haven't taken out any financial products, phone, credit card, or nothing like that, the lender then has no idea what you're going to do in the future. So basically, what they do is they take your past behaviors and predict what you're going to do in the future. And yeah, it's super important. Like what I was saying before, myself, I've been in the position of not having great credit. So when I was developing like the first app, I took out money, and a friend of mine, we were doing it together, and they didn't put money in my account, and the money was trying to come out, and then there's red flags in my on my credit history, like my credit file. So you kind of have just to repair that. You kind of have to show them that I can repay a debt back. So that's why sometimes if you have no credit history whatsoever, you have no financial products under your name, sometimes it's good to just get like a credit card. You get like a Capital One or something like that, has crazy APR. The interest is like crazy 40% or what have you, but you only use it to show them that you're credit worthy. So say you do your shopping on it every month or something like that, and your shopping's £300 a month. You do the food shopping on that credit card, and then at the end of the month you pay it back. Say if you took £1,000 out, you gave them back 900. You don't pay interest on the £100. You pay interest on the £1,000, even though you've just paid back £900. So why would you want to pay back for something that you? And especially if you have the money, especially if you're just starting out, why do that? You're only doing it to kind of build your credit history. So you just pay it off in full every single month. Every time you do it, just pay it back like in full.
So in your own words, where do you want to see the younger generation with their financial literacy? What do you think is going to change or should change in the next 10, 15 years?
I think stuff like pooled funds and like micro saving and being able to put our money together to do things like crowdfunding. I think that's kind of like where I would like to see things go, because we have the money, we have the power. If we really want to do something, that's the thing really. Like if we really want to do something, people will put their money where their mouth is. Like if you
100%.
want to do something, like really, like put some money in it. Like let's go make the bet. Do you know what I mean? And I think, and I would like to see us kind of do that really, and just be a bit more connected with our finances, because then we're stronger.
What does the future for investing look like to you?
For the investments in general, I
guess like the, investing maybe, I don't know, 50 years ago. I mean, I could be wrong, but 50 years ago might have just been a novelty. Yeah. In the next 50 years, is it going to be saturated? Is it going to be, what does the investment world?
That's a great question. Like, it's a great question. I know with that. It's like I said, it's more accessible. So people are able to become an investor. Like today, you can be an investor today. You couldn't do that before. Like, so you couldn't actually, you would have to get a broker, you'd have to phone call or meet someone or what have you to get this done. I literally can open up an account and be a part of a company. When you buy these shares, you're a part of that company now. You own part of that company. And that's really how you need to see it. It's like you're a part owner now. So that's very easy to do. And I think there's going to be way more investors, like, because it's so accessible, and stuff like ETFs, which is an exchange traded fund, which this specific ETF, which is called SPY, mirrors the movement of the S&P 500. Does exactly the same thing as that, but it's cheaper, right? So people are going to invest in stuff like that, and I think that's important. It's great that we kind of can do that, but I wouldn't put all my money in something like that, because it's like mirroring what the actual S&P 500 does. It's better if you can to buy the actual S&P. So when you do invest in something like in ETFs, which are cheaper, once you get enough money, try and invest in the actual S&P and not something that's tracking it. So I think so back to your question, it's going to be, I don't need to be saturated. I think the more people the better.
If somebody, they've got their business, they've launched a business, it's been however many years now, it's doing pretty well, and they want their business to now be a company that can be invested in. Mm-hmm. Can they do that? Which I'm sure the answer is yes. And do you know how they would do that?
There's two things. I'm not an investment banker, so like I can only give you like my idea of how I see it would work. There's basically two ways you could do that. You can simply have a company, and when you incorporate a company, when you get a limited, you make shares. You say, I'm Ryan, I have a company, it's a limited company, I have 100 shares. You then could say, you obviously have to speak to your accountant, what have you. Each share is worth £1,000 or what have you. Then you can issue those shares to your friends. You can call up your mate and say, I've just started this business. Then this is as simple as it is. I've just started this business. Will you pay me £1,000 for a share of my company? I will give you a piece of paper that says you own 10% and this is yours for £1,000. And you do that with 10 people. Like that's awesome. That's as simple as it is. And then everyone gives you £1,000. Now you have that money to go and develop your business, make the app or do what have you. Do you know what I mean? And then they own that stake in that business. And when the business does better, the share's worth more, if you like.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of like the simplest way to do it. The other way is an IPO, which is an initial public offering, and that's above my pay grade. You would actually need an investment banker, like certain people actually have to sit down and go through certain things that I've kind of sat behind those guys before, and I've heard them on the phone, and that's like
it's a whole other level, it's a whole different round.
Yeah, that's just like that you have to have a certain type of money when you're IPOing. The people that have IPO'd recently is people like Uber and Snapchat and stuff like that. These are like massive companies. If you get to that stage, you probably don't want to speak to me. You probably want to speak to like
that was awesome. That was really, really insightful, actually. I didn't even know it was that simple. And I think that's the problem sometimes, is that so many things are so simple, but we make them seem like they're so difficult, and we make a mountain, as they say, out of a molehill. And that's proven right there.
It is, but I think also with finance in general, I think it's scary. People think that way in general. And also, I think some people in finance make it sound more than it is to leverage their position. So it's just like, well, I know this and I know that jargon and I know this word, so therefore I'm the guy. Give me money because I'm the guy, because I know all these words. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of the time, you just have to do a little bit of reading. And that's kind of what I want to do with the game. So when you're playing the game and you're getting these questions, these are words that you're now comfortable with. And that's what it is. You've seen them enough times and they keep repeating. It's like, now I know what that word is when someone asks me.
Now, you mentioned you've got a mentor. How many mentors do you actually have?
I have 2.
How important would you say it is for people to have a mentor?
Yeah, it's massively important. And the thing is, it's weird because I never thought I would be the person saying this, because you need a mentor. And I used to think, when people used to say this, you need a mentor, I used to think, like, how am I going to find a mentor? Who's going to want who's going to know about the stuff that I know about, and how's someone going to help me? You know what it is, I believe this, like, if you work really hard at something, someone's going to see it. Someone's going to, you're going to bump into something. This is why you got to talk about what you're doing, because you'll talk to someone and they say, that's really great. I know this person that does this and they can help you with that. And sometimes that's as easy as it is for you to get a mentor. And if you're working, it's very hard for someone, especially if someone's done it before and they've done well in that position. It's hard to see someone struggle at something and they're not going to say anything. They're going to say, look, do this or do that. It's like the same as like a PT. It's like if you saw someone in the gym all the time and you see them struggling or seeing whatever, and they seem like a nice person, you say, you know what? Try and do this or try and do that. That might help you a little bit better. Yeah. That's the same as a mentor.
Just giving them those coaching points and direction.
That's it. And always, the mentor doesn't even always, they're not even always on the ground, so they're not always right 100%, but it's another perspective, and you 100% need it. If you think you can do it on your own, you're mistaken.
So on that, how do you keep yourself centered?
Centered. That's an interesting way. Fitness is like real good, like to kind of, because to have structure as well. So it's like I go out and work out, and then I come back, and then I can kind of chill. And I also I meditate. I started meditating a little while ago.
And how's that going?
Great. Yeah, it's great, man. Like, it's great. And another thing is the discipline. It's like you have to do it every day, even if you don't think you're good at it or what have you, but you have to continue to do it. I use Headspace, which is great. It's guided meditation. But yeah, it's just really helped me. It's helped me so much. And that's like, it's helped me in places that I didn't think it would help me. So yeah, that honestly, meditation is really good. Even speaking to people or being nervous. Sometimes I'm nervous, and then you kind of just, if you use like a breathing technique that you've kind of used or learned, it really just helps you.
And what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always like an interesting question. Yeah, maybe it's for it to be like adverse triumph.
Yes, I like that.
I'm not like, I come from a single parent, minority, paid for my lunches when I was in school. I'm pretty sure I'm dyslexic. I've started doing big investments during probably one of the worst economic crises of all time. Everyone else has no excuse. Like, you have to get it done. Just look at someone who's come from nothing. Like, you can do it 100%. But I want to be able to show people that you can really just do anything you really want. If you really want to get something, just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Like, you'll get there. Bet on yourself. Say, boom, I'm going to do this.
And what's one of the things you like to do to stay jovial?
I'm so normal there. Like, I like normal stuff, like music.
What are you listening to at the moment?
I'm an R&B fan. Like, I'm a huge R&B fan. Like, her is killing it at the moment. Like, her, she's like amazing. She's killing it in my life right now. But yeah, so I'm music, and I'm a film person, really. Like, I'm a super like film buff, and like music and family, friends and family all the time over anything.
So what would be your film recommendation?
The Big Short. The Big Short, right? The Big Short explains the financial crisis that we just had before this one, 2008, and the housing crisis and that. So it explains that. Explains it in the best possible way. So if you want to know a little bit about like investing and like how things can come to an end and kind of unravel, not to scare you, like, it's just that it's real. Yeah, look at The Big Short. It's got Brad Pitt in it, and Ryan Gosling,
nice,
Christian Bale, and yeah, so it's great.
What does Black History Month represent to you?
It allows us to be shown in a positive light, like we really should be, you know. And I think that we've been left out of the history books, like, on purpose for whatever reason, and this kind of just allows us to for other people, and especially ourselves, to see ourselves in a positive and in our greatness that we actually are, you know. We come from kings and queens, and it's great to kind of see people walk in that light, you know. We need it. Like, we 100% need it. You need to be able to see yourself, and see yourself do good, so you can see, or someone like you doing good, so you can kind of see yourself doing good as well. I think for other people that don't look like us, they can look on the news and kind of just see themselves doing, or someone like themselves doing that. And we don't have that as much. And it's really important that we kind of take that time out to kind of celebrate ourselves, because we're great, amazing people.
Now, we cannot end without talking about Stash one last time. And again, just saying how amazing it is that you have got to this point where you've put together an app, and it's now available to download. So please tell our viewers how they can get involved, download it, and how they can also connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. So the app is on Google Play and on the App Store. It's called 720. So it's spelled out in words, 7 and then 20, all one word. And you can download the app and look out for the updates, because we're constantly updating, we're constantly testing it to kind of make it the best it can be. And you can go to the App Store or Google Play, or you can go on our website, which is stashinvesting.co.uk, and you can go for the links that way. And you can find me on Instagram on Stash Investing. So my name's Ryan Downs, and you can get me. It's to put Stash Investing, and I'll sure I'll come up. And yeah, connect with me. You know, like and subscribe.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing, Ryan. I'm so pleased that I've been able to get you on the platform. It has been great. Yeah, you've really given us some gems today, so thank you so much for that. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Good, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel and press that notification bell.